For 25 years, Michael McLean has entertained 1 million people throughout the country with his Forgotten Carols production.
Arts and religion specialist Carole Mikita tonight looks back over his career and to a time he calls his crisis of faith.
All angels in heaven.
Michael McLean and his Forgotten Carols remain an important part of Christmas for tens of thousands of families throughout the Intermountain region.
Homeless, like the Christ child was.
Why do people love this show? Some years ago in Las Vegas, he met a man who had first seen it when he was homeless and addicted to drugs.
He says, I've been clean and sober for 13 years and 3 months, and I wanted to introduce you to my son because I wanted him to come see the show that changed his daddy's life.
My head was wrestling with my heart.
He was inspiring others, but not himself. What no one knew about Michael McLean is that for 9 years, he lived with a faith crisis.
This too happens to many people, and they don't necessarily come out on the other side the way you have. Tell me what happened.
My son had come out, said, I can't do it anymore, I'm gay, and this is what my life is like.
The family was living in Southern California during the Prop 8 fight. McLean had spent decades as an award-winning radio and TV commercial writer, creating Latter-day Saint inspirational messages, including Mr. Kruger's Christmas with Jimmy Stewart and the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Isn't it ironic that the guy that makes the commercials and writes the songs about being the great dad, not so much.
So McLean began to pray, but answers, he says, did not come. Then came doubts about his faith.
I thought I may have gotten this all wrong, and maybe I'm too arrogant to confess it. Or maybe I'm too linked to the fact that you sold 2 million records to these people. How do you go tell them?
A couple of years later, the door opened slightly after he read Mother Teresa's book about her 49-year-long faith crisis. And she came to him in a dream. He then promised the Lord that he would hold on.
Something miraculous will come. This will make a great song. I'll write an article in the Ensign. We'll live happily ever. Yes. Wasn't he faithful? It was 7 more years.
But when the answers came, he says it was a deluge download in his language.
The songwriter got songs. How thrilled I was that it came in this way that let me know that I wasn't alone.
It turns out, he says, all that time, people came, messages came, but he wasn't listening.
I thought I was writing the Forgotten Carols for fans.
Mm-hmm. It was for you.
I have confidence that the answers that we need the most desperately will come perfectly when we're willing to receive them.
So, after 25 years and more than 500,000 in those audiences, McLean takes his message about the gift of the Christ child forward, knowing now that it is for him as well as all of us.
It's because the one that the show's about changes our lives.
Remember, he says, the child grew up to make the ultimate sacrifice alone on a cross. McLean remembers what his father taught him.
The greatest intelligence in the universe is saying, I have faith in you.
No one, he says, is ever forgotten. Carole Mikita, KSL 5 News.